Coming up on the Mississippi Minuteman, nearly a third of Mississippi's Guardsmen travel to Fort Hood for this year's largest training exercise. A historic World War II hangar joins the Mississippi National Guard, and we'll tell you how specially trained soldiers ensure aircrafts are always ready for takeoff. All these stories and much more coming up on the Mississippi Minuteman. Hello, and welcome to the Mississippi Minuteman Summer 2016 edition. I'm Senior Airman Jessica Fielder. The 155th Armored Brigade Combat Team and other enabler units travel to Fort Hood for a multi-echelon integrated brigade training exercise. Staff Sergeant Michael Needham gives the overview on our lead story.
Over 3,000 Mississippi Army National Guard members arrived at Fort Hood to support the Army's total force policy by partaking in the 155th Armored Brigade Combat Team's multi-echelon integrated brigade training exercise.
We train every year at Camp Shelby to take the brigade combat team, move it from Mississippi all the way to Fort Hood, Texas, draw equipment from 1st Cav Division at Fort Hood. That alone in itself is training value. But then the opportunity to go out into this training area and to maneuver where you actually have the ability to maneuver as a company size element, to spread and use our combat platforms to the max of the weapon systems, to be able to practice mission command or command and control even a platoon leader or a company out here in this terrain. We can't do that at Shelby, or we can, but we grew up at Shelby and we don't need a map. And you know what? We need a map here. You know, we don't know where we're going. We're not just running down to an intersection. So the value there was going into a new place we'd never been before, and being able to train at that level is absolutely, it's amazing, and it's a great opportunity.
This event was used to ascertain the 155th Armored Brigade Combat Team's ability to properly conduct offensive, defensive, civil, stability, and fire support operations.
It took 11 months to set the conditions to have tough, realistic training with the enablers, with the effects, with the fog and friction that is on the battlefield. We were able to synchronize that and bring that together for specific mission sets, whether it was reconnaissance, movement to contact, deliberate attack, defense. You put all that together, and a company battery troop or those platoons underneath it, they get realistic training that stresses them mentally, physically, and it makes them put the entire synchronization plan together on how they would fight.
Having National Guard and Reserve components that can fully function to support and maintain the national military strategy and the Army's commitments worldwide makes these citizen soldiers an irreplaceable component. Reporting for the 102nd Public Affairs Detachment, I'm Army Staff Sergeant Michael Needham.
The 155th training doesn't stop here. The unit is scheduled for a rotation at the National Training Center at Fort Irwin, California next summer. An Army facility with a long, rich history will help shape the future of the Mississippi National Guard. Hurricane Katrina badly damaged a World War II hangar at the Gulfport Biloxi International Airport. Public Affairs Specialist Danielle Thomas explains how Guard leaders saw possibility in the midst of destruction.
With a swipe of their pens, retired Air Force General Joe Spraggins of the Gulfport Biloxi Regional Airport Authority and Major General Augustus Collins, Adjutant General of the Mississippi National Guard, made it official. The Guard is now owner of a historic hangar.
You know, it was built in 1944, and it stood for so many years, and it's provided great services to the citizens here of the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Back in 2005, Hurricane Katrina badly damaged the hangar, which is a designated Mississippi landmark and on the list of National Historic Places. However, the determination to save this piece of history was unscathed.
To bulldoze it down would have destroyed all of that history. So when we looked at the building and we determined that it was still structurally sound, there was no reason to bulldoze it down. Instead, if we could find a way to rehabilitate it, then we could return it back to service.
Once the National Guard completes the interior of the building, the hangar will be used by the 1108th Aviation Group. Officials say this acquisition forms one long joint military complex.
Closes a huge loop of being able to take the whole east side of the airfield and make it under one umbrella. And now we don't have any breaks in it. We don't have any private business or anything else in the middle of it. And that makes it more viable for security, for units to come here to train and be able to have the security that they need. And also we're going to be able to bring some more work here. And there's more people coming here to work at Gulfport.
Military officials say they're also happy that what was a Katrina eyesore for more than a decade is now something that once again Mississippians can be proud of. For the CRTC, I'm Danielle Thomas.
The total cost to restore the hangar was just under $1.7 million. After 2 years of intense planning, the Magnolia Guard and several state response teams joined forces in a search and rescue exercise. Members of Company F, 1st Battalion of the 171st Aviation Regiment, and Mississippi first responders participated in a simulated earthquake exercise at Camp Shelby. Guardsmen conducted rescue operations alongside the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency and the State Rescue Task Force.
They are all rope rescue experts, swiftwater rescue experts, and we want them to see what we're able to bring to the table with our aircraft and the capabilities using the hoist. So if it's an emergency in the middle of the DeSoto National Forest or somewhere that's hard to access, our hoisting capabilities is really the big thing that we bring to the table for them.
The teams practiced interagency communication, helicopter safety, search for victims under and above ground, and conducted casualty triage. They also transported casualties to a helicopter for medical evacuation. The participants say the invaluable experience furthers their confidence in responding effectively and safely to a disaster.
I mean, it's like we've never met before. I may not know their name, but I know I can trust them. And so we just come together as a team, and it's like clockwork, man. It's awesome.
Nobody ever wants a natural disaster to happen, but it's going to be a huge asset to the state of Mississippi for us to be able to really work well together for a seamless integration to be able to make something happen and keep the citizens of the state safe.
Seamless integration between the National Guard and state agencies makes for a strong Mississippi that is ready to act when disaster strikes. Coming up, we have a message on the value of diversity in maintaining a strong Mississippi National Guard.
I do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the Governor of the State of Mississippi.
That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
upon which I am about to enter.
That I will obey the orders of the officers appointed over me,
according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God.
Together we stand, shoulder to shoulder.
Welcome back. Aviators of the 185th Aviation Regiment perfect their warrior skills during this year's annual training. Staff Sergeant Michael Williams has the report.
Many National Guardsmen spend their 2-week annual training in the field conducting maneuvers and perfecting warrior tasks. For aviators, their annual training is conducted from the clouds. Mississippi National Guardsmen from Alpha Company 1st Battalion 185th Aviation Brigade conduct this year's AT at the Combat Readiness Training Center in Gulfport and the Camp Shelby Joint Forces Training Center in Hattiesburg. Crew chiefs and door gunners refresh their skills by qualifying with their crew-served weapons at Camp Shelby's air-to-ground range during in-flight exercises.
One of the main focuses for our crews as we do aerial gunnery is ensuring that they can protect the aircraft when we do deploy into a hostile environment. Coming down to AT annually, letting them get on the 240s and put rounds down range gets them that training and that familiarity that they need to protect us as we go forward.
This training helps soldiers stay up to date on mission essential tasks and keeps them prepared in the event of a deployment.
Just going out here shooting, getting familiarized with the weapons, especially for the new guys. As older guys, it's just a refresher really, because everything's muscle memory.
Defending the aircraft is only part of the process. Mission success begins on the ground. Specialty trained soldiers of Alpha Company ensure the aircrafts are always ready to fly by making critical repairs. Their training doesn't stop when the aircraft takes flight. The maintainers hone their skills through creative scenarios.
Me and a couple of guys who are also progressing,
we had a little bit of free time. So what we did is we started drawing the Black Hawk on a dry erase board, just going over component identification and talking about different systems such as the fuel system and how it works.
Training like this keeps the soldiers of Alpha Company ready at a moment's notice to fulfill the National Guard's motto, always ready, always there. Reporting for the Joint Force Headquarters Public Affairs Office, I'm Staff Sergeant Michael Williams.
National Guard leaders say annual training reinforces the importance of preparation and teamwork. The spirit of teamwork also helps to build strong relationships between the military and the community. The 186th Air Refueling Wing believes that bond starts with our children. Second Lieutenant Rachel Henson captures that moment.
The pitter-patter of little feet can be heard throughout the hangar at Key Field Air Force Base in Meridian.
This is an oxygen mask in case we have fire on board.
Over 150 third graders from West Lauderdale Elementary School have the opportunity to see what goes on behind the scenes during a visit through the 186th Air Refueling Wing's Adopt a School program.
They're learning the history of Meridian itself, and Key Field plays such a part of that. They're learning about the refueling, how the refueling takes place in the air. They're learning about the fire department and how the fire department also helps with the airport here. And they're also learning about the command post and what happens there, and just the, kind of like what I said, just the impact that the whole 186 plays on our community.
The 186th Air Refueling Wing is made up of over 1,200 airmen and officers. Events like these not only benefit the children involved, but are also a reminder to the guardsmen and women of the role they play within their communities.
I believe it benefits them to show them what we do. We have a lot of kids' parents that are here, uncles, grandparents, a lot of people that work out here that are in the community. And it gives them an idea of what we're about, and that we care for them just as much as anybody else. And what we do is for our country and for our kids.
Members of the 186th hope that with this program, the children will be inspired to support their military and possibly serve one day. In this crowd could be one of Key Field's future pilots. For the JFH Public Affairs Office, I'm Lieutenant Rachel Henson.
The 186th Airmen started the Adopt a School program 2 years ago and currently partner with 18 schools in the Meridian area. When soldiers hear the word deployment, it usually means months away from family and friends operating in a hostile environment. For one engineer company from southern Mississippi, that word took on a whole new meaning. Second Lieutenant Terry Hill tells us more.
The 857th Horizontal Engineer Company performed overseas deployment training at the Joint Multinational Readiness Center in Hohenfels, Germany.
These little mini deployments are good simulations of actual deployments, getting a group of people and equipment over here and working.
The unit trained on runway construction and repair, but according to the soldiers, the overall experience was invaluable.
I would highly recommend a future rotation to younger enlisted soldiers. The country over here is beautiful. You get to experience a lot of different things that you would not normally see in the States.
Engineers with the 857th look forward to more opportunities for overseas training. For the Joint Force Headquarters Public Affairs Office, I'm Lieutenant Terry Hill.
During the 857th's deployment in Germany, the unit had the opportunity to repair a short takeoff and landing strip. There are only 3 such landing strips in Europe. That's all for this edition of the Mississippi Minuteman. For more Guard news, visit us on Facebook and Twitter.